Star Citizen Alpha 4.5 is released. Finally, engineering is in everyone's hands. And quite honestly, it doesn't feel like anything's really changed. Engineering is supposed to change how ships fight each other. Really, that's all it really does. Small ships die as quickly as ever. Once your shields go down, you start taking hull damage, and suddenly you just blow up. That's all there is to it. Larger ships, everyone said on the forums before engineering was going to be released, everyone said on the forums, it seemed, that you were not going to be able to solo operate your Idris, you're not going to be solo operate your Polaris. Yeah, I've been doing that. I went into the most difficult level of the Headhunters missions, and I was able to solo an entire patrol mission, max difficulty, with my Polaris, just myself with a Polaris, mostly because the AI is just absolutely rocks in the head stupid. It just can't deal with a ship like the Polaris when it shows up, and they fly like morons. I had a hammerhead sit in front of me and trade shots with the nose turret on the Polaris. That's just how bad it is. I think part of the problem is, I don't know if engineering's bugged, because I noticed that only power plants on multi-crew ships with actual interiors that have components you can access, it feels like only the power plant takes damage. Nothing else really gets damaged, it feels like. And I've been in several ships, I've been in several firefights, and usually it's just, the power, once the hull starts taking damage, the armor's gone, usually your power plant just burns up after that. I haven't even really noticed any fire. It takes a lot of punishment before fire shows up, so I suspect there may be some bugs with engineering, and bugs in Star Citizen. You don't say, Vertigo, right? So we had a stream live a while ago where we tested to get fire to start in a Polaris, and we couldn't get a fire to start. We damaged the cooler, we turned the cooler off, we damaged the power plant, we damaged the shields, we had everything turned on, we had the atmospheric stuff turned off, we had the life support turned off, we threw size 9 torpedoes at the Polaris, we got the armor stripped, we got the health all the way down, we were dealing damage to the power plant, and just, the darn thing just does not want to catch fire. But the power plant actually cooled off a little bit, I think, maybe. Now it's up to 151 degrees centigrade. I'm trying to remember when lead melts. 327. So that's probably about... Yeah, you're at 95% of hull armor and 99% hull. And we still haven't overheated.
1 hour later.
Oh, that was a torpedo. I'm not sure what that was. What did you do? Armor is down to 47%, hull's down to 85%. So it looks like some damage passes through system. So that's 90. You're at 649 M% of armor. Hull is 57%. We're still kind of like the same shit going on here. You didn't damage shit. Even the cooler is still fully powered. Yeah, that's that's fully health. That's full health. Sensors, full health. Yeah, nothing. Armor is at 0%, 24 health. I'm surprised about how much damage the armor absorbs. Really. Because, yeah, there was like just a fraction of just a tiny bit of armor left, and then you took away that percentage, that tiny little bit of armor, and then you just lost a little bit of health on top of that. That was 3 torps, yeah. Alright, let's go look at the systems again. Oh. The cooler took a bit of damage, and that's it. The cooler was already turned off, though. I mean, we could turn the cooler back on, because it could malfunction and start a fire. Actually, we could probably, like, shoot the shield generator with a little bit. I got it down to, like, 5%. Alright, let's just shoot the cooler. We're gonna need some more ammo after a little bit. Okay, so that's red. That's kind of where I want it. So that's 68% is red. You think Polaris is good against distortion damage? I think distortion weapons should have enough pen. So 62%. I want to get down below 50. So 2 more magazines, 3 more magazines. This suppressor is really good. Like, I barely have to move my mouse to keep stuff on target. Alright, so that should be, like, critical damage on him. Yeah, 45%. So you should start seeing malfunctions, potentially. What do we got? Blah, blah, blah. 73%. There we go. Now it's in the red. With alcohol in them, I think. I have no idea what it takes to start a fucking fire on a spaceship. The main engineering console is like in a room that's hard to get to. Alright, so cooling systems at 46%, life support's offline, hydrogen fuel's empty. Cooler failure. There we go. Cooler's offline. Everything's starting to increase in temp. There, that's the entire ship now. Now you just disabled the entire ship. Yeah, I have no more. Yeah, it's just gonna. Congratulations, we have to now wait 5 minutes. There we go. Oh, here we go. Explosion imminent. Reactor critical. Yeah, he just drove the reactor crit. No, the torpedo. 8%, 10%. Well, that didn't do anything. 10%. Hold on to your butts. Nothing. It probably disabled something, 0.5%. Hey, it didn't even hurt the quantum drive. It's still at 100%. Yeah, I mean, like, what the fuck do you have to do to, like, start a fire in this goddamn ship? And then I spawned the Mercury Star Runner. For some reason. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I got it with me. Let's see here. We turn off life support, right? Life support's 108 degrees centigrade. Part 5. I mean, what does it take to, like, overheat a ship? 109 degrees centigrade. Because I have both coolers on this thing turned off and it's not overheating. Yeah, I don't know what it takes to start a fire in a goddamn ship. Shot the cooler a little bit, and that thing just caught fire instantly. There we go. Oh god, that's it. Alright, so I started a fire. It's not even that impressive.
A few moments later.
Warning, fire detected. Warning, fire detected.
There you go. That's how it really is supposed to look. Then it'll start spreading into the cargo bay.
Warning, fire detected. Warning, fire detected. Warning.
That should be like the worst thing I could do.
Fire detected.
Holy shit, I can't see a goddamn thing in here. Oh, my character's starting to suffer heat stroke too.
Warning, fire detected.
Alright, we probably a good idea to do some damage control.
Warning, fire detected. Warning, fire detected.
Get some of these parts repaired.
Fire detected.
Yeah, we need to get, like, into the space because, like, the fire is just gonna keep reigniting itself.
Warning, fire detected.
It's so hot here. It's like the power plants are over, like, 2,000 degrees centigrade. Holy shit. Yeah, they're just gonna keep igniting themselves. I think we just have to, like, pull the power plants out. Oh shit, I'm out of fire extinguisher. Yeah. I think we need to focus on, like, getting one of the power plants cooled off to the point where it doesn't, like, self-ignite.
Warning, fire detected.
Yeah, it's getting below 1,000 degrees in here. But mother... My character just can't survive in there. Alright, so I think that may be...
Warning, fire detected.
the power plant repaired. About 50% or 100%.
Warning, fire detected. Warning, fire detected.
Oh my god, half the ship blew up. The hell happened there? Why did that ship, half of the ship blew off? Did the fire do that, or did... Alright, now you just need to vent the entire goddamn ship. There you go. Sounds like, yeah, you can hear the air leaving the ship. Let me put that to recharge. There was another one in here somewhere. There it is. Well, it's cooling off in here, but my god, I can't see a goddamn thing. It looks like the power plant... Oh shit, the power plant's gone critical. Life support coolers. Shield generator's on fire, apparently. Oh.
Warning, fire detected. Warning, fire detected.
Apparently we're still losing integrity on this power plant right here. 3D viewer. According to this, there's fire in this containment area. It's cooling off rapidly, though. Yeah, there's still one fire somewhere.
Warning.
The front's taking damage slowly. Is a latent heat bug? There's probably bar door.
Warning, fire detected.
Oh my god, I can only imagine like having to like navigate. Yeah, that's not gonna take me down. Navigate this place with like a. This is really, really awful. Trying to navigate through this place while it's full of smoke. So we actually managed to get a ship to catch fire today. I mean, there's not much you can do. Like, you can't self-destruct. So I don't know if certain ships are just have a higher propensity for fire, if it's a bug, or what's going on there. But, you know, you think at a certain point capital ships would catch fire, and that's kind of like the thing you want to have happen for damage control reasons, right? The engaging multi-crew gameplay, right, for capital ships would be like, oh, you have to run around and put out the fires. But yeah, you could definitely solo cap ships in PvE. And in PvP, just like the last patch in 4.4. You can take your Idris out and go to Security Post Karaya, and you can fly around by yourself, firing the laser or firing the railgun at stuff. If the people you're firing it at aren't prepared to deal with a capital ship, you have to bring the tools to stop the capital ship, right? You have to bring the tools to get through the shields on the Polaris, to get through the armor, to actually hit the internal components, or take the armor the hull down, because CIG introduced this second health bar underneath the armor. Once you get the armor down, once you get the hull HP down, then the power plant just starts magically taking damage. And I suspect two things here. One, players didn't understand. Ship don't blow up. Why not I win? Right? Very simple. Like everybody, when you get the ship down to red hit points, once the ship turns red in your display, you expect it to blow up after a certain amount of damage, right? You know, a certain amount of fire per second goes into the target. It should blow up. People don't see that. They get confused. Why no ship blow up? And the other suspicion I have is engineering's probably not set up just right just yet. Why doesn't CIG have engineering set up right? Well, there are a lot of ships in Star Citizen that need to be transferred over to the new system that allows a mix of the new engineering system and the old hit point system. There's over 200 ships, vehicles, and variants, and many of those have different levels of completeness to them. There's newer ships like the Clipper, which have all their engineering components in place, ready to be accessible, ready to be repaired. And then there's older ships, like the Constellation Andromeda, which has no access to any component, which happens to be my first pledge from 2013. CIG is probably having problems with desync and the netcode and getting shots to hit properly, because we've had this desync sort of thing in Star Citizen before. It's not nearly as noticeable when you're just having to hit the target, but when you're having to hit specific parts of the target, that's when things start to show up. And there's something I've known and noticed for years in Star Citizen when it comes to like actually hitting ships. You shoot at a certain part of the ship and the rear shields take the damage. For some reason, always the rear shields take damage. Like the Mercury Star Runner, the Hammerhead, it's always the rear shields that go down first. I don't know what it is. Like over the years, you just notice certain ships, just always the rear shields go down first. And I suspect that's probably a thing with like netcode and like how bullets velocities work and where the bullets are targeting the exact center of the ship, and like ships are maneuvering, the bullets go, arrive a little bit late, so they're always hitting the back, or the shape of the shields around the ship. I kind of attribute that to a lot of different little things, but mostly netcode. But yeah, you can still solo an Idris K or an Idris M if you wanted to, or even a Polaris. You want to go to Hathor and shoot stuff on the ground and, bully like freelancers and cutlasses at like Dupre or something. Yeah, you can do that. If people aren't bringing the tools to stop you, to chew through your shields and chew through your armor, the PDCs, yeah, they'll eventually, the laser ones, will eventually wear down a Gladius or an Arrow. If you get the missile PDTs, yeah, they'll throw size 1 missiles all over the place. And missiles are actually kind of dangerous right now for some ships, especially the small ships like the Gladius and the Arrow. If a size 2 or size 3 missile slams into you, you're pretty much guaranteed to blow up. All hell the missile meta. It's coming back. And speaking of meta, I actually did some PvP recently. I don't do a lot of PvP, but I figured I got dual joysticks. I need some practice, so I went into squadron battle in Arena Commander and with my Arrow, and I flew around for a little bit and noticed everybody was using ballistics. Ballistics, Gatling mantises, the tarantulas, and a lot of ballistic weapons. Everybody was using ballistics, and I'm just like, oh, that kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like, ballistic damage penetrates shields. Armor resists ballistic damage, but not by much. We go back to that time when the attritions had shield penetration, like around 3.5-ish. Whenever, can't remember when attritions were added to the game, but for about a year, around 3.5, attritions were the meta because they had damage that would penetrate shields. Flight model back then was a lot more nimble. Hummingbirds on crack, I believe, is what the community loved to call it. That was probably the saving grace for that, because what would end up happening is pilots would engage. When their shields got low enough, they would just disengage. So having shield pen weaponry just equipped by default allowed you to get damage onto target. That was guaranteed damage. And you really wouldn't notice because there's no yellow state for hull. There's yellow state for like equipment, which is another complaint I have. Like the yellow state, the damaged state for weapons and doors and whatnot on your ships and components on your ships is like 99%, 99.9% is when they turn yellow, and it's just like, yeah, I could probably hold off on being notified that my components are damaged until they're like 75%. 90, 98%, 99%, yeah, I don't really care. But yeah, because you didn't have a yellow state for hull damage, you just keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting with attritions, and suddenly your hull would turn red, and you're like, oh crap, my hull's red. I better just, boom, you're dead. So that was kind of like what saved the meta back then. But right now, in Arena Commander, ballistics. That's what's the flavor right now. Ballistics work really good. If you have a ship with a lot of ballistic weapons on them, you will tear through lighter targets pretty quick if they're in front of you. That damage will stick, too. You don't really have to worry about having your components taken out in a ship that even has components, like the Gladius. You just detonate. I was fighting in Arena Commander, I was shooting ships with my arrows loadout, and I didn't notice any effects, like taking out a cooler, taking out a shield generator, taking out a power plant. I didn't really notice any of that stuff happening in Arena Commander. Normally, you just open up on a guy, you hit him with a bunch of bullets, blows up, and then he respawns. So, engineering, what is it doing, right? What are we doing with engineering on this release? So, to wrap this video up, I feel like engineering and fire could have been delayed to the first quarter of 2026. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.